All right, cool, cool, cool. I think we're ready for the second stream of the day. This is becoming a habit. We normally don't have two streams a day, but we did, like last week, and here we are again. Let's see. Gotta send out some notifications. All right. I figured this stream would go perfectly with what we talked about earlier in today's stream, which by the way, if you haven't seen the stream that we did earlier, I highly 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 recommend. It's such a good stream. We talked about the monkey mind, and then I was kind of sitting here thinking what would be a good stream to kind of follow that stream up with, and that's behaviors. That's action. That's really the second part of the puzzle, first part of the puzzle, whatever you want to call it. And that's why we're going to be talking about feelings do not have to determine action. So this is not just something that I want you thinking about on like an anxiety level. This is not something I want you thinking about just on an anxious level. This is something I want you to kind of internalize for life in general when we say feelings do not have to determine action. So again, if you missed the earlier stream that we did today about the monkey mind, I highly suggest you check it out. We were talking about how the mind is like a literal monkey that's attached to your hip, and you can fight and scream with that monkey while it fights and scream, or you can just let it tire itself out. So, if you missed that, I highly recommend you check it out. But now we're going to focus more on the action, the taking action part, the what you do with your everyday life part, right? The what you do with your everyday life part, and how these anxious feelings and the fact that the monkey is screaming, right? And once you've accepted it at that point, you're no longer going to scream back at the monkey. The action part is still up to you, right? So, what you do when you make the choice to accept the screaming monkey, completely up to you, and that's what we're going to be talking about in this stream. Feelings do not have to determine action. So, again, once you kind of understand and realize the point of you have this screaming monkey, right? You have this screaming monkey, and you can choose to scream back at it, or you can choose to not scream back at it, aka fight with it, and eventually it'll tire itself out. Your anxious negative thoughts. Once you make that choice, then it's time to just live your life, right? It's time to live your life while you make that choice, and that's kind of where we run right into today's stream. Feelings do not have to determine action. So let's see who we got in chat. Having a big crazy panic attack right now. That is amazing. That is awesome. Perfect opportunity. Perfect opportunity to realize that you don't have to do anything about panic. And now a lot of people hear that and they think, oh my gosh, he just told somebody that it's perfect and it's great that they're having panic. It is, because otherwise you're never going to learn how to fully embrace that panic while it's there and not add fuel to the fire. So it's a perfect opportunity, right? The panic's going to pass either way. It's going to pass regardless. You're eventually going to peak, you're eventually going to come back down. But being in that moment and having that firsthand experience to teach yourself how to let it flow, right, is a perfect opportunity, right? Is a perfect opportunity. Perfect opportunity. Perfect opportunity. Let's see. We got Craig. We got Lewis. What's up, Wonder Bro? Just quick update. I've still been feeling symptoms here and there, but for the most part, I'm pretty much recovered thanks to you, bro. Thank you. That is awesome, dude. Congrats. Keep it up. Hi, Wonder Bro. What's up, D Block? What's up, Margaret? I like that. Let's see who else we've got in chat. Hello, Wonder Bro. Great topics. I love your videos. Much gratitude to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Welcome to the stream. So, like I said, we talked earlier about how the monkey mind is kind of like a literal monkey attached to your hip. You can scream and yell and argue with your negative intrusive thoughts, aka the monkey. But how productive is that going to be? If you scream and yelled at a real monkey that was screaming and yelling, it's probably just going to scream and yell louder. So that's what we talked about uh, in the earlier stream, and we're just going to follow up now. So let's say you make that choice to no longer fight with the monkey because you realize you're wasting your time and the monkey is just getting louder as you yell at it. And I guess we're just going to run straight for the point of the stream here. Let's say you make that choice, right? And now it's time to just live your life while making that choice to no longer fight with the monkey, right? Then comes the point of this stream. Feelings do not have to determine action. So, as you're making that accepting choice to no longer scream and fight with the monkey on your hip, you're just going to let it tire itself out. Now it's time to just get back into life, right? And a lot of people hear that and they think, there's no possible way I can just get back into my life today. I just feel like crap. Just to put it bluntly, I feel like crap. I don't want to live my life today, right? Okay, so this is a hurdle that you need to slowly overcome. Because as you're sitting there doing nothing, right? As you're sitting there allowing yourself to be in this resistant attitude and not want to get on with your day, and you're just laying there bitching and complaining, which I did a lot of, right? I did a lot of bitching and complaining in my day, basically just downright refused to live my life. As you're sitting there doing that, even if you've made the choice to no longer argue or fight with the screaming monkey on your hip, do you think you're going to feel better off if you get up and live your life to the best of your ability? Right? You don't have to jam pack your day full, but do you feel like you're going to feel better if you get up and live your life and do things that you want to do for yourself, even though you do feel like crap? Or are you going to feel better laying there bitching and complaining? Right? It's so much easier to get sucked into the rabbit hole of fighting with that monkey on your hip if you are just laying there bitching and complaining. And that's why one of the two main keys are, if you're going to make the choice to no longer fight with the monkey mind and just live your life, living your life also needs to come into play. That's why we have two main keys for a reason. There's multiple reasons why there's two main keys, but today I really want to focus on the fact that, hey, if you've made the choice to no longer fight with your monkey mind, what's the next step? The next step is just getting back into life. Not only is this going to help you not fight with your monkey mind, right? But it's also just going to make you feel better in general. It's going to help that confidence get rolling, right? Because even though you don't necessarily feel like it, you're doing it. You're making choices for you. You're no longer making choices for the anxiety. This is not only going to help you feel better, it's also going to help your brain learn. And again, that's why we have two main keys for a reason. They go hand in hand and they work very, very well together, right? Lewis, thank you so much, dude, for that $10 tip, putting us $10 closer to that new AC. I will admit I am boiling. Um, all right, so that's why we have two main keys for a reason, because they work like a charm together. They work magic together, right? So let's say, for example, again, you watched it, the earlier stream that we had today, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to stop arguing with my monkey mind as much, because when I scream and yell at this monkey just gets louder. That's a great point, Wonder Bro. I'm going to dedicate to just allowing the monkey to scream. I'm not going to try to forcefully shut it up, because again, that's the same as getting in its face and yelling at it. That's not going to work with a monkey. But I'm just going to accept that the monkey is screaming. Okay, great. And now we're here in this stream talking about what happens next. What happens next is you get back into life, right? You get back into life for multiple reasons. We could go over a huge long list of why that's one of the two main keys. But I'm really just focusing on the fact today that once you make that point to no longer fight as much with your monkey mind, it's time to start living again. That's what happens next. That's what comes next. So while you're practicing not fighting with your monkey mind, you're going to feel much better if you slowly start getting back into life. Not only is this going to help with your confidence and just make you feel better about yourself in general, but this is also going to help teach your brain, right? Now, that doesn't mean you have to run around in a panic trying to fill your days with activities. That doesn't mean you can't rest. It just simply means that if you're spending 24 hours in bed because you don't feel like doing the things that you normally would enjoy to be doing, then it's time to get up and do those things anyway, because it's going to be far more productive and help with your mental way more than laying there bitching and complaining, right? So again, if you've made the choice to no longer fight with your monkey mind, instead just deal with it screaming for the time being, but you're no longer going to fuel it, what comes next is living. What comes next is living life, right? So it's really a personal choice. How do you want to spend your days from here on out now that you've made the choice to no longer fight with your monkey mind? Do you want to do things for you because you know deep down these are things that you would normally enjoy? Or do you want to continue to bow down to the anxiety and live based on it? Live based on being its prisoner, right? And again, there's nothing wrong with resting. There's nothing wrong with not being able to fill your day full of activities. Okay? You can go at your own pace. You don't have to do everything under the sun. I'm just simply saying do things for you, right? Do things for you. So let's read a couple comments. That was just a quick main point of today's stream. We're gonna read a couple comments and see what's up with you guys. I just want to say, Wonder Bro, only for you. I don't know where I'd be with second fear, no matter how I try to accept and try to move on. It's nearly impossible. I just want to say, Wonder Bro, only for you. I don't know where I'd be with second fear, no matter. Yeah, I think I get what you're saying there. As long as you're adding second fear, it feels very difficult, and I agree. Which means as long as you're fighting with the monkey mind, right? And not living your life, it feels very difficult. So I agree with your comment. Um, as time passes and I live my life, I get better. Only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. And it's important to remember there's nothing wrong with it taking some time. There's nothing wrong with it taking some time. I need to update the tip goal. Thank you so much, Lewis, for that $10 tip. Let's see. I realize that I have about 15 minutes when the panic kicks in, but no matter what, I just keep going with what I'm doing. No trying to cover it up. No yelling at the feelings. No fighting. Exactly, exactly, exactly. Question about DPDR. Will that disappear once I'm fully out? I'm doing a lot better. Feel 90% better. So you're obviously doing something right, Fee. Keep it up. Don't worry about when the symptoms will completely fade. They will in their own time. What's up, Mary? Remember, if we get too far into or too deep, I guess you should say, into questioning all these symptoms, we could easily slip up and start to add a bunch of worry to them. I mean, it's normal to have questions, but you don't want to go too deep with it because that can easily kind of turn into worry, and that's not going to get you very far at all. Miss ya, hey Mary, thank you for stopping by. I faced my fears in the past. Some of them I'm better today in some aspects, but it's so easy to go backwards sometimes. Not necessarily backwards, but it's easy to pick up bad old habits, right? And then you just kind of need a refresher. I've been quiet as I'm all healed. That is awesome. I love to hear it. Love to hear it. So many positive comments in today's chat. It's awesome. Yeah, bodily sensations. I mean, which is 90% of the issue. People worrying about their bodily sensations, which, that's what the two main keys really tackle. You're living your life for you, not for the anxiety. Um, because that's just going to make you feel better in general, right? Because again, the title of the stream, feelings do not have to determine action. And while you're doing that, you're cutting back on the second fear you add by no longer fighting with the thoughts and feelings. No matter fighting, no longer fighting with the monkey mind. No longer fighting with the feelings. You're just living your life and you're letting the monkey scream if the monkey wants to scream, right? But what good would it do to get down there and yell at the monkey? Probably not. Yeah, it probably wouldn't do much good. Probably wouldn't do much good. I mean, you got to take it literally. Like, if you literally had a monkey screaming and you got down in its face and screamed at it, how much good would that do? Same concept with the monkey mind, right? How did you personally manage to shake off the uncomfortable feelings that DPDR generate? You don't try to shake anything off. This has nothing to do with trying to shake anything off, right? Because if you've got the attitude and the mindset of I need to shake these feelings off, good luck, because those feelings are there, whether you like it or not. And believe me, I know how uncomfortable they are. But whether you like it or not, if you've got the attitude of how do I shake it off, you're about to get very worked up. You're about to get very worked up with that attitude. And I'll tell you why. Because the feelings are there. Whether we like it, dislike it, hate it, love it, the feelings are there. And if we have the attitude of how do I shake it off? How do I make it go away as soon as possible? You're just going to work yourself up. That's where suffering comes into play. The thoughts and feelings don't have to lead to suffering, although you may think they do. The suffering comes in from the resistance, because now you've got a feeling or a thought or both, and you've convinced yourself that you want to shake it off as soon as possible. But since that's not happening, now you're really upset. Now you're really upset. So you see, that's where the true suffering comes into play. Not so much with the feelings and thoughts, but with the resistance to them, right? AKA second fear, what Dr. Claire Weeks called second fear. So what you can do is you can kind of come to a place, right? And this is what you need to practice. You can come to a place where you accept the fact that these feelings or thoughts are present, but you're no longer gassing yourself up with the attitude of how do I make them go away? How do I force them away or shake them off as soon as possible, right? Because now you've given yourself an impossible task. These thoughts and feelings, they'll pass when they want to, right? And they always do. They always do. They're completely harmless. But when we get ourselves worked up on top of being worked up, now we've triggered ourselves over being triggered, right? And this is a whole layer of unnecessary suffering. This is a whole entire layer of unnecessary suffering that needs to be stripped away and can be stripped away, right? So if you're triggering yourself on top of being triggered, you've added a whole layer of unnecessary suffering, right? Right? A whole layer of unnecessary suffering. So, we need to have the attitude of the monkey mind, blah, blah, blah. It's going, going. What good does it do for me to yell at the monkey? No good. You're just going to upset the monkey. Same thing with feelings, right? Hey, I appreciate that, Joseph. No, I understand you. I understand you, Lovey, but my point still remains the same. That's how I would answer that question, regardless. So thank you for that question. It was a good point to make. It's really a lot of self responsibility that has to be taken on, right? And understanding that we are screaming and yelling at the monkey mind, which is just going to make the monkey scream louder, and realize that we are doing the same with the feelings, right? And realize that we're doing it, catch ourselves when we're doing it, and live our life instead. That's really what it comes down to. A lot of taking self-responsibility for the suffering that we create instead of pointing fingers at the anxiety and the thoughts, right? Understanding just how big of a role resistance plays in suffering instead of pointing the fingers at the thoughts and feelings, right? You're probably just a little frustrated, Cassie, but no matter what feelings or emotions that are amplified by the anxiety, they will always be a harmless expression. An expression being a harmless form of energy, right? Which is basically what a thought and feeling is at the end of the day. Now, whether we add energy to that or we don't add energy to that is really up to us, and that's what we're learning to do here, is to not add energy to those expressions of energy, right? Good questions today, guys. I agree with you, Lovey. The brain's gonna brain. The brain, aka the monkey mind. You've got this monkey mind and it's attached to your hip. It's screaming and yelling. What good is it gonna do to scream and yell back at it? It's just gonna upset the monkey even more. Same concept with the feelings, right? Same concept there. Same concept with the feelings. All right, guys, I'm gonna head to the post stream just for a bit. But the main point of today's stream was I just kind of wanted to follow up the earlier stream that once you've made the choice to no longer fight with the monkey mind, what happens next? Well, what happens next is you start living again. That's what needs to follow that decision. So kind of basically today I just wanted to make it a goal to sum up the two main keys in two separate streams. Yo, Jordan! No way, are you kidding me, dude? Hold up. Hold up. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. I was gonna take a quick smoke break from stream, but hold the phone. We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back because Jordan, or Joseph rather, sorry about that. Joseph dropping the $100 tip, dude. Joseph dropping the $100 tip, which puts us at tip goal. Oh, oh, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm not gonna have to boil any longer. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you so much. Can we get a huge shout out to Joseph in the chat, please? Can we get a huge shout out to Joseph in the chat, please? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Love you, brother. AC, enjoy that AC, man. Thanks for all the emails. You're right. Jordan is the first name. Oh, gotcha. Okay, well, that explains the J. Joseph. Got it. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. I really, really do. I literally just set that tip goal today. I did not think we would hit it in the same day. So, can we get a huge shout out to Joseph in the chat, please? Can we get a huge shout out to Joseph in the chat? Not gonna lie to you, I'm very very hot and uncomfortable in this streaming setup as it stands right now. So, Joseph, you're a lifesaver, dude. I appreciate it, and everyone else as well, Lewis and everyone else who contributed. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's get a shout out in chat, please. Shout out in chat, please. Shout out in chat. Has no clue how much easier he just made my daily life. Has no idea how much easier he just made my daily life and my streaming life, considering this is where I stream and it is extremely hot. So, so, thank you so much to Joseph and everybody else who contributed, no matter how big or small. Thank you guys so much. I'm East Coast and it is extremely hot, but see, here's the thing, it's not that hot in the other areas of the house. It's just here. And I think it's because where my area is located, right by these giant windows, and the sun just beats in. It's the hottest room in the house. It's the hottest room in the house by far, and I've got all the streaming equipment and computers and monitors, multiple monitors and TVs, and it just makes it very, very hot and stuffy during the summer in this room. And I've had this current air conditioner that I'm working with right now for about 15 years. So it was time for a new one because it's just not cutting it. So I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. All right. Hold on, guys. Continue to show Joseph some love in the chat, please, and I will be right back. All right. All right, chat. I'm back. I apologize for the wait. I had to call my local Walmart and see if they still had what I was calling for about earlier, because that would have been horrible if they had sold out of the air conditioners. But the good news is, chat, they do have it and it's ready to go. So I'm gonna stream for a little bit longer. I'm gonna stream for a little bit longer. They don't close until later on, so we'll stream for a little bit longer, and then we're gonna get out of here. We gonna get that shit installed. We're gonna get it hooked up. My life's about to get so much easier. All right, life's about to get so much easier. So shout out to Joseph on that one. Shout out to Joseph on that one. What's up, Denise? Welcome. During a full-blown anxiety attack, how do you redirect your attention on something else during that uncomfortable moment? It's not so much about trying to force yourself to forget, right? So instead of asking yourself, how do I redirect my attention to something else, it's how do I shut up, right? So trust me, dude. Trust me. It is much easier if you go into anxiety with these thoughts and feelings with the attitude of, how do I not add as much second fear, which means, how do I stop fighting with the feelings and thoughts, which means, how do I stop talking to the monkey mind, right? Denise, Denise, thank you so much. I will address that in just a second. So it's not so much an attitude of, how do I force my focus to go somewhere else. Let that kind of naturally happen. Don't try to bite and claw your way to having the attention elsewhere, right? Let that kind of naturally happen as you adopt the attitude of, I'm going to flow with these thoughts and feelings rather than fight with the monkey mind. Because again, if you was to fight with a literal monkey, that's just going to make that monkey louder. It's just going to make that monkey meaner. So I get what you're saying by, how do I redirect focus? Yeah, that's great. But don't come into it with the mindset of, how do I scratch, claw, and bite my way into forgetting about these thoughts and feelings? How do I scratch, claw, and bite my way into having my focus go elsewhere? Because then you're just trying really, really hard, and that's automatically going to set you up for not being able to focus elsewhere. So it's kind of ironic in that way. But if you come into it with, if you just come into, let's make it simple. If you just come into all these anxious feelings and thoughts with the attitude of, I accept these feelings and thoughts, and I'm not going to fight with them. Whatever happens, happens, right? These feelings are there, these thoughts are there. And if I catch myself adding gas to the fire, I'm just going to take a step back and not do that. Practice not doing that, and practice just living my life. Instead of coming into it with an attitude of, how do I forget? How do I make myself forget? How do I focus elsewhere? How do I just come into it with an accepting attitude and let the focus naturally drift back into what you're doing? Now, will it drift back 100%? No. There's probably going to be a part of you that's very aware of these thoughts and feelings. Being aware of them is not a problem. It only becomes a problem when you start fighting with them, right? That's when it becomes a problem. So you got to catch yourself fighting with the monkey mind. You got to catch yourself screaming at the screaming monkey. And then pull yourself back and say, you know what? I'm just going to let the monkey scream, aka the negative thoughts. I'm just going to let the monkey scream, aka the anxious feelings. And I'm going to accept them for what they are. I'm okay with this. I'm going to be as okay with this as I can be, right? I'm practicing acceptance. And then I'm going to get back into living my life. As you do this, attention will naturally come back into the real world, right? But you don't want to come into it with an attitude of forcefulness, right? You want to come into it with an attitude of non-fight, live my life, let attention naturally drift back into the real world as I continue on, right? Hope that answers your question, Craig. I think he's left to buy the AC. I did leave to call about it. I did leave to call about it to make sure they still had what I was looking for. And they do. So we're going to stream for a little bit longer, and then we're going to get this AC, we're going to get put in and all that good stuff. Thank you so much again, Joseph. Thank you so much. What comments did I miss? Um, So Anton, that kind of addresses your question too. When you said I'm not able to redirect my attention to what I'm doing, I get frustrated. That's fine. There's going to be a part of you that's very aware of how you think and how you feel right now. You're not trying to forcefully do anything. So you could naturally allow your attention to kind of drift, but if you're trying to force it with the mindset of please make these thoughts and feelings go away, then you're already in a state of resistance. So the attitude needs to be these thoughts and feelings are present. I accept them to the best of my ability. I'm not going to fight with the monkey mind. I'm not going to scream at the screaming monkey, aka the thoughts and feelings, and I'm going to live my life, right? But don't get frustrated the moment the monkey doesn't shut up. It might take him some time. It might take him some time. It might take him some time. So people get frustrated and they say, "Well, I can't put my full attention on something else." That's fine. That's fine. You're living your life. You're accepting the thoughts and feelings. You're no longer fighting with the monkey, aka the anxious thoughts and feelings. You're letting the monkey tire itself out. And just because you can't forget about it, it's not a big deal. Naturally, you'll start to go back into the real world. Naturally, you'll start to forget. Naturally, you'll start to be more focused on what you're doing. But don't try to come into it with forcefulness. Don't try to come into it with forcefulness. It's great that you're wanting to focus more on living. That's great. But don't come into it with forcefulness. If you can't at the moment, that's fine. As long as you're not fighting, as long as you're not screaming at the screaming monkey, aka screaming at the thoughts and feelings, things will happen naturally for you past that point, right? Things will happen naturally for you past that point. So if you're at that stage where you can't do this, you can't do that, just keep one thing in mind. Don't scream at the screaming monkey, aka the thoughts and feelings. uh, I'm still scrolling up, getting to comments that I missed while I was away. Hottest room in the house because you're in it, says Cassie. Hey, you're going to make me blush. It's already really hot in here. You're going to make me blush. You hit the $130 tip goal. That's freaking awesome. I did. And speaking of tip goals, Denise, thank you so much for the 20. I forgot to come back to that. Thank you so much for the 20, Denise. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you are absolutely correct. All right, let's see. I'm going to switch to post stream while I do something real quick, but I'm still here. Don't worry. I am still here. Um, Thanks so much for drilling this into us. No problem. I know how tricky it is sometimes. You try to force your way into acceptance because you're desperate for this or you're desperate for that. But understand that if you're trying to force your way into anything, it's just stressful. Acceptance needs to kind of naturally happen as you practice. So it's not a forcing of anything. It's not a forcing of trying to forcefully redirect my attention. Drop the word force out of your vocabulary. If these thoughts and feelings are there, so be it. And if you notice that your attention is caught up on them, so be it. Right? So as you notice all of this, as you notice all of this, you need to drop the word force. There doesn't need to be the word force even coming into the picture here. The word force doesn't need to even come into the picture here, right? So we're dropping the forcefulness. We're dropping the I really want to force this to happen. I want to force this to happen. I want to force that to happen. We're dropping the word force completely. And it's an understanding that as we start to not scream at the screaming monkey, the anxious thoughts and feelings, as we practice taking that step back as much as we need to and no longer screaming at the screaming monkey and just becoming okay with its presence to the best of our ability. Might not be perfect at it, that's fine, but as we're doing this, we're allowing these things to happen naturally. We're allowing the thoughts to occur. We're allowing the feelings to occur. And then, of course, we're going by the two main keys. So we're doing our best to live our life while we allow the feelings and thoughts to occur. But if I shake my head and say, "Oh man, my attention just won't fully go to what I'm doing," and then I start getting worked up at that, then you're back to screaming at the monkey. You're back to screaming at the monkey just by getting frustrated. So if you notice that your attention's not fully on what you're doing, that's fine. That's okay. We accept that like we accept the thoughts and feelings. And then we go back into living. You see how it all comes full circle? Whether we're talking about anxiety or anxious thoughts or the symptoms or frustration because I don't think I'm accepting right or aggravation because I don't think I'm accepting right or getting upset because I can't focus on what I'm doing. Whatever we're talking about, we need to put it all in the same bucket. Anxiety. We got a big bucket of anxiety here, right? Whether we're talking about being frustrated or angry or upset or symptoms or negative intrusive thoughts or I can't put my attention fully on what I'm doing, we need to chalk it all up as that anxiety. And then we need to make the choice. I'm no longer going to scream at the screaming monkey. So maybe the screaming monkey is saying something like, oh, you can't put your full attention on what you're doing. And maybe he's right. Or maybe he says, oh, you're having all these symptoms. And maybe he's right. Or maybe he says, what if this bad thing happens in the future because of these symptoms? Right? He's probably wrong. But still, let's just continue. Whatever the screaming monkey is saying, right? Whatever the screaming monkey is saying, put it all in the same bucket. Make the choice to step back and say, I'm no longer going to scream back at you. So the mind says, you can't fully focus on what you're doing. All right, fine. Whatever you say, bud. Or the mind says, look at all these horrible symptoms. Okay, fine, whatever you say, bud. Or the mind says, you might go crazy. Or the mind says, you might have that heart attack. Or the mind says, what if this bad thing happens to your loved ones? Or the mind says, what if this bad thing happens to you? Right? Okay, bud. Okay. Whatever you say. I'm not going to scream back at you. I don't like that you're screaming. It's frustrating. It's upsetting. But I'm not going to scream back at you. I'm not going to scream back at you. I'm done playing that game. You can scream all you want. It makes me frustrated. It makes me anxious. It gives me bodily reactions, right, from my tired nerves, but I'm not playing anymore. I'm not participating anymore. It might make me feel all sorts of ways, but I'm no longer participating. I'm no longer screaming back. I'm not going to scream back at you, right? I'm not going to scream back at you. So we chalk it all up with the anxiety. Context irrelevant. And then we take the step back and we notice that the monkey is screaming with the thoughts and feelings. But then we make the conscious choice to no longer scream back, which means to fight, right? Which means to fight. Sanchez, Wonder Bro, what's up, dude? All right, post stream, guys. I'm gonna grab a smoke. It's been a hot minute, so I'm gonna grab a little smoke here, real quick. It won't take me long. I'll still have the comments pulled up. Right, Cassie? Exactly. Joseph's the MVP. MVP, man. He is the MVP. Keep in mind while you're living your life, Joseph, because I noticed you said it's so freaking hard. Keep in mind we've got two main keys for a reason, dude. So not only should you be living your life, but you also need to catch yourself when you're screaming back at the screaming monkey, right? Which is to say, fighting with your thoughts and feelings, because that's just going to make the monkey even more agitated. So keep in mind while you're dedicating to living your life, which is great because that's half of the equation, that you also need to be aware of when you need to take a step back and stop screaming at the screaming monkey. Now that doesn't mean the monkey will stop screaming right away. It might take him some time, but you get what I'm saying. There's two keys for a reason, right? You get what I'm saying there. Sorry, I know sometimes I miss comments here and there, guys. If I missed your comment, feel free to re-comment. Sometimes they just scroll past and I miss them. Let's see here. Comments, comments, comments. Hey, no problem, Lynn. Anxiety might exhaust you, Fee, but anxiety is not going to do permanent damage. It's not going to give you permanent brain damage or anything like that. I mean, that's a common fear because it's just another big what if, but it's not based in reality whatsoever. You can heal, you can recover. It's again, it's the screaming monkey that doesn't need entertained or screamed back at. Just let that be as it is, which is really the approach you need to take with anything that the monkey, with any nonsense that the monkey screams, right? You're doing good, Joseph. You're doing good, man. All right. All right. Let's see here. We're gonna replace this with. Uh, Let me see. J. Joseph. Oh wow, I totally misspelled that. Is a dumb man. There we go. There we go. I think that's. I think that's suitable. Chances of recovering from OCD or anxiety without medication. That's gonna. You're the one who determines that. That's not a statistic that exists. That's not something that is based on an overall formality. That's something that you're going to determine. If you've got the advice here and you are dedicated to no longer poking a stick at the thoughts and feelings, right, and poking a hot poker at the thoughts and feelings, and instead not adding that second fear, then congrats, you're going to be on your way. If you need medication to serve as a crutch while you practice that, that's going to be up to you and your doctor. But there's no grand statistic on what's the likelihood. This is something that you're going to determine. It's not something that's determined by fate. It's something that you're going to determine, right? Can I believe you do it? Do I believe you could do it? Absolutely, anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I seem to get anxiety at night as if I'm afraid to sleep, and it's frustrating. I start pacing, feeling like I need to talk to someone. So the pacing is obviously, it says it right in the title, right? Fight or flight. So you start to get worked up. You start to get worked up. You start to trigger yourself over being triggered. And that's what we want to try to work on not doing. We fully accept that we're triggered, and we don't want to trigger ourselves about being triggered. We accept that we're triggered. We embrace being triggered. Okay, I'm triggered. And then the monkey mind, it's going to start screaming, and the feelings, they're there, and the monkey mind's screaming, and we're seeing it as the monkey that it is. And we're remembering the analogy. What's the analogy? Okay, if I've got a real monkey attached to my hip and I start screaming back at it because it's screaming at me, I'm just going to piss this monkey off even more, right? And then I'm going to have a real problem with this monkey on my hands because now he's upset. Now he's going to scream louder. And this is the cycle. This is the common cycle that people find themselves in with first and second fear. That's what it all comes down to. That's what it all comes down to, right? That's what it all comes down to, guys. So we're getting ready to approach that 1 hour mark, guys. I need to get this done, get this going. All right. All thanks to you, Jay Joseph, and everybody else who contributed. I appreciate you guys so much. But we're going to start to wrap this up in just a minute. In just a minute. So if you have any final questions, please get them in. Please get them in because I'm boiling and we need to get this taken care of. Again, huge shout out to Jay Joseph and everybody else who contributed. Jen, 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 Jen coming in with the $20 tip. Man, you guys, I love you. I don't know what else to say. I love you. Jen says, thank you. Your channel has helped me so much. I appreciate you, Jen. I appreciate you, Jen. Thank you so much. Wow, you guys are awesome. Denise, Jen, Joseph, Lewis, thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Please get in your final questions if you have any, because I'm going to get the ball rolling over here. I'm going to get the ball rolling over here in just a minute. If you haven't subscribed, guys, please subscribe. We are so close to that 10K mark. We are very close to that 10K mark. So if you're looking for a sign to subscribe, this is it right here. This is it right here, man. Right here. Thank you so much, Jen. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you, Joseph, man. Huge shout out to Joseph. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, and thank you to the rest of you just for watching and being here. I appreciate it. Thank you all. Thank you all. Oh, yes, very soon, Cassie. Very soon. Very soon. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and head on out. I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for your love and support. Really, truly, I'm blown away. I didn't expect to hit that tip goal anytime soon. That's why I had the word long term up there, because that's something I figured we were going to have to take some time to work towards. But you guys proved me wrong. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. I love you guys. And I'm sure I'll see you very soon in the next one. And until next time, as always,